Upcoming New York tax deed sales, treasure or trash? Is it a good way to get your first investment property, or is it going to be a waste of time? Is it too good to be true? Well, today we're going to look at some New York tax deed sales that are going to be coming up. And what I can tell you is if you kind of peel back the onion on tax deed sales, you can definitely find some treasures in these properties. And sure, along the way, there might be some trash as well, but we just move that aside and go to the good deals, which is the name of the game that we are here to play. So remember, a tax deed is when you buy a property, the opening bid is always going to be the outstanding back taxes owed. And the reason we like tax deeds as an investment is the fact that when you buy it, because it's a priority lien, wipes out mortgages and other liens along the way. So that's why can be an amazing opportunity for folks who wish they would have started in real estate, say 20 years ago, or maybe you feel like you're late to the game and real estate's out of control. This can be a great alternative investment. I honestly believe it's one of the best ways for the average person who has maybe 10, 20, $30,000 set aside to get a property, sometimes 60, 70, sometimes even home runs up to 90% below market value. So what we're going to do today in the live stream is walk you through New York. Now, you don't have to be in New York. You can do this stuff remotely. We're currently not in New York, and we're going to be looking at some of these sales because we need to open our mind to the fact that maybe some deals won't be in our backyard, and that's okay. You know, we've done deals all over the US, and half the time we've never even been there because we know how to do this stuff virtually and remotely. And the cool thing is you're still dealing with a hard asset that you can control, you know, unlike a lot of stocks and cryptos and things like that. This is a tangible asset you can put your money into and be protected on the downside. So we're going to crack into that. It's Dustin Hahn here, and our channel is dedicated to helping folks get their first deal with tax liens and deeds and get some big discounts, sometimes 50, 60, 70, 80% below market value. We have over 3,000 videos here on this channel. And from here, this coming up this Wednesday, we're actually going to do a deep dive live webinar, a little longer, and show you how we also find $100,000 houses, sometimes for as little as $5,000. So there's a link below in the description if you want to join us. Anybody who comes to the webinar always gets the ABCs of Tax Liens and Deeds, this full book. So that's in the description below. If you guys want to join us here on Wednesday for a live webinar, it should be a good time. Obviously, we're live right now, but we will go further in depth on some different strategies. So I'm going to bring in the auction wizard himself here, and we're just going to dive right into some New York sales. Josh, how you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. Hey, Dustin.
Excellent. So Josh's been to hundreds of sales, researched thousands of properties. We're going to show some of the findings that he has, but the reason we say live New York tax deed sales is we have some good ones coming up. We have Erie County in Buffalo that's going to be on August 26th. We have Orange County. Hudson Valley will be August 31st. We have Hacienda. I think I said that right. That's going to be August 22nd. We got Thompson's auction coming up August 4th. There's Sullivan County and Catskills. So there's a lot of good auctions coming up in New York to keep an eye on, and as well as Lewis County coming up here August 17th. So there's a lot of really good sales coming up that you could take advantage of. And we're just going to walk you through some of the basics here as far as how to do it. So we are live. So everybody tuning in, do me a favor, say hello. This is not an AI. I know when we're scrolling internet these days, it's like, oh, what's fake? What's real? We are real and in the flesh here. No AI. Although we do use AI as a tool, this is not an AI stream. So ask any questions, guys. Let us know what city and state you're tuning in from. We can tailor the stream here as we go a little bit. And we're going to dive in. If you like it, hit the thumbs up. Josh, let's take them from the beginning. New York tax deed sales. And remember, if you're not in New York, insert the name of your state whenever we use the word New York. So over to your screen here, and right from the beginning, let's hit it.
Okay, so there is one coming up right now. We've got Cayuga County in New York, and so if we just go to Google, let's type tax foreclosure auction, and then right there we'll see that we've got a county website right here. You can see cayugacounty.gov, and so that's what you're always looking for, is an official website with the county. We've also got Auctions International. And so I think that this is probably one of the platforms that they're using. So let's start with the county website. And so here we've got a phone number, we've got an email, we've got a little bit about the past results. And so this stuff is actually really helpful. You've got like 2023 tax sale results, you've got 2024, and then 2025 as well. And so when you're trying to find like an auction that's got great deals, if you look at past results, you'll often see what property normally gets bid up to. And so if you find good deals in the past, chances are you'll find some good deals at this current auction. So here is the rules and bidder registration. I guess their certificate and then the procedures for the auction. But here is the list of auction parcels. And so we still are a little bit about a month over from the very first date of the sale, or around about a month. Yeah. So August 28th, and then closes Friday, September 11th. And so I don't think we've got a complete list yet because we don't have the opening bid, but we do have the amount of items. We've also got the town, tax map number, and then location. And so what we could do, there's two different ways to look at this. You could go ahead and you could copy this location and throw it into Zillow or Google or something like that. But you'll notice not every property has got an actual address. And so for instance, this one's just Turnpike Road, but we do have a parcel number because you can't really search the word Turnpike Road and know exactly what you're looking at. Same thing with off state Route 90, but we do have that parcel number. And so what we can do is take that tax map number, parcel number, and throw it into Regrid. And so Regrid is what we use to actually look at parcel maps. And so we'll go ahead, paste this in, and what we got here is 1.71 acres. Scrolling down, it's got a total value of about $47,000, and they're giving about $19,000 value for the land. And so, I mean, to me, that does seem a little bit low for 1.71 acres. So we always take the assessed value with a grain of salt. What we're really after is what would this sell for, with the current market value? What are people willing to pay for a structure like this? And so we would look at recent sales for land in the area to figure that out. But it's going to be, the opening bid is going to be the back taxes. So we do know that there's going to be a lot of a meat on the bone here. But that's how you would go ahead and you could look at this list. You could throw the tax map number, the parcel numbers into Regrid, and then actually see what you're looking at. Because you'll notice the second one, we've got no address, right? So there's no way to actually look at this unless you use the tax map number. And then from there, you'll notice that multiple different counties will have the same number. And so it's just important that you're looking at the right one. So we're in Cayuga County. You can see here that we've got different counties in New York. So make sure you're clicking at the right one. We can see, is this going to be a good parcel or not? And this actually could be something useful. Here it is right there. And so a lot of times the ones that don't have any address attached to it, they might just be slivers of land. But in this case, it looks like a reasonable lot, and it could be worth something. So that's how you can go ahead and find an auction like that, and then a little bit about using the list and tax map numbers.
Excellent. Good stuff. For everybody who's just joining here, let us know who's tuning in, what city, state. Ask any questions you have. We will dive into to any questions here today. We're talking about New York, but we can be flexible as far as looking at other sales go. And one of the big things in New York, Josh, I can chat about that if you want to find another one to pull up. And remember, everything that we're going to show here is public information. Sometimes Google thinks we're showing deep, dark secrets, but everything we show on this stream is 100% public information. Anybody can go and access here. So we like to give that disclaimer, but you have any questions, put them in. We would love to hear from you guys, and we can dive into that. If you like this stuff, do us a favor, hit thumbs up. And quick quick note, on Wednesday, I'm going to do a live webinar where we're going to talk about buying $100,000 houses, sometimes for as little as $5,000 through tax lien and deed investing, and the strategy that you can deploy to do that. There's a link in the description for anybody who wants to join, or a QR. And everybody who comes will get the ABCs of tax liens and deeds as a gift. Should be a great time. So that's coming up on Wednesday if anybody wants to join and do a little more deep diving into the world of tax liens and deeds. So yeah, New York, one of the warnings for New York, obviously. So I've shared the story. Back in the day, I went to a New York sale in Troy. So if you guys are going to any tax deed sale or even New York, always pay attention to the area that the property's in. Obviously very important. We use a site called areavibes.com. And with that, you can see the good neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, and always be careful, because sometimes you might have what looks like a good property, but it's like right on the edge of a terrible neighborhood. Sometimes just like a city street can be the difference between, you know, a high market value and a low market value. So we need to be aware of that. And then the other thing to be aware of at tax deed sales is things that are like code violations, grass cutting liens, trash removal, things like that. And sometimes in New York, I purchased one. I didn't read the fine print. I always like to give the example of tax deed investing is like the game of Monopoly. You know, we have to get the rules and learn how it's played. And 18 years ago, I went to a sale in New York, much younger, and I didn't get the county rules read properly. Obviously, I think I was hoping for Monopoly-like pictures. And I didn't read that when I bought the property, I had 60 days to fix the code violation on that property. And I failed to do so. And it was worth like 60. I bought it for 6. And I started getting these notices in the mail because I didn't fix the code violations, started getting fined for it. So that was a mistake that I made. And just for you guys, make sure to, you know, read the rules. It's like the game of Monopoly. You have to ask for the rules for the game, where you're going to play it, and that'll make sure that you are in good shape here. So guys, welcome. Any questions, put them in the comments here. We'll get to those in a few minutes. And if you're liking this, do us a favor, hit the thumbs up. That way you won't miss the streams coming up here. So Josh, let's roll on and see what we have. Josh, we can't hear you. Lost your sound.
My bad. All right, here we go. You know what? I was looking for Orange County, New York, because you mentioned that that auction's coming up. And so that one is scheduled August 31st. And I wanted to see if they had a list available, but it's not up yet because that's a little over 30 days. But it did take me to this website, which is aarauctions.com. And when we talk about online tax sales, this one is less popular, which is great. It means there's going to be less competition. And so I wanted to see if they had anything in upcoming auctions, specifically around real estate. And there is one in Franklin County, New York, happening just in a few days, actually. Now, the interesting thing about this is they are selling these properties at a loss to the county. And usually the opening bid is going to be the back taxes, interest, penalties, things like that. But look at this. So this closes on August 5th. We've got a starting bid of $100. And so this is Chateauguay Village. We've got 47 SO Pearl Street in Malone, New York. Starting bid of $100. And these actually have, I can see why this one is starting at $100. You can see this is overgrown. But you know what? For $100, the value in the land could actually, you know, this could be a really good deal if you just demolish this house, tear it down. You could have a usable piece of land. But you can see everything here is $100. And so auctions like this, they don't actually do much marketing. And so this is where you could get a really good deal. You'll see minimum bid, no minimum, no reserve, sells regardless of price. And I just opened up the first one here. And this one's got a county assessed value of $42,100. And then I checked on Zillow and it's at about like 78, 80 grand. You got 0.21 acres, 5 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,764 square feet. So $100, which is crazy because, you know, the back taxes on this would definitely exceed $100. And so there's no harm in registering for these auctions. A lot of times you don't even actually have to put a deposit down. And so this is aarauctions.com. They do other kinds of auctions as well, but this is where you can find a really crazy deal, especially in New York. And so this is one that you do have enough time to register. You can get involved. It starts Monday, August 3rd. It's like, where else can you be buying real estate in the state of New York for $100, which is crazy.
Nice. So it's interesting, right? A lot of folks, like we mentioned at the beginning, is it treasure or is it trash? And remember, a lot of the times we have to look at this through a little bit more of a creative lens. So like Josh is saying, $100, maybe the house, worst case, needs to be teared down, but is the land worth thousands of dollars? And, you know, there are people who just specialize in those properties. They buy stuff dirt cheap, literally. Maybe there's not a property on there. Maybe they tear it down. Maybe they flip the land. And there's a lot of options for tax deed investors to get into this business in a very unconventional way. And we know that a lot of you guys wish you would have started in real estate maybe 20 years ago, or held on to a property, or you're realizing that, you know, the cost of life is going up and you need an alternative to help secure your retirement. And, you know, this is why we like tax lien and deed investing, is it gives you the opportunity to have an alternative. You know, when we look at the failure rate of all businesses, like I think 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 to 7 years. So with real estate, what we like is it's black and white. We can look at this stuff. We can value the asset. You know, 90% of the millionaires in the US have their net worth through real estate. So it's like, okay, 90% of businesses fail. 90% of millionaires have done it through real estate. I think at this point, we can all agree that, you know, real estate's a pretty safe bet compared to everything else. So the next question is, how are you going to do it? And there's a million different ways out there to do it, right? And we believe tax liens and deeds are the best way to start. There's a massive arbitrage. There are 3,300 counties out there. There are like probably 10,000 sales happening yearly. There's sales every single month, every single week. Florida, Texas, Georgia, all over the place. You guys can be getting into this. So if you guys are just joining us, put any questions you have there in the chat. We will answer them. And like I mentioned, on Wednesday, we are going to do a live webinar to talk about how it can be possible actually through tax liens to get $100,000 houses for as little as $5,000. If you buy enough tax liens and they don't redeem, you end up with a house for the price of the back taxes, which is pretty cool. So we're going to be going into that. There's a link in the description or a QR code here. You can join us, and we're going to have a great time on the webinar on Wednesday as well. So Josh, let's hit some of these questions and then we can go back to your screen here. What's your strategy to avoid playing with checks? Not exactly sure what you mean there, but perhaps you mean when you go and take checks to buy the properties. I'm not sure what you mean there. Josh, any idea on that one?
Yeah, when he says playing with checks,
Yeah.
Actually, going back, it's the question before was what states to buy to avoid refunds of not used auction funds with checks. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I mean, the way that we avoid refunds, because a lot of times what happens is, let's say you show up with a cashier's check for $50,000 and you win something for 10. There's going to be a $40,000 refund that's going to come back to you. And so we often want to avoid that as much as possible. So we just recommend bringing multiple cashier's checks, maybe like denominations of $5,000 or $2,500, so that you can get it as close as possible to the exact number and then limit the refund. Because yeah, we don't want our capital just sitting with the county, especially if something gets lost in the mail or they have delays. We've seen sometimes they'd send it to like the wrong address, and then you have to chase them down and get it back. So yeah, we don't want them to have any extra capital of ours. And so that's what we'll do is just, cashier's checks, multiple denominations to avoid that.
Nice, good stuff. Walter coming in, Northern California. Good to see everybody. Yeah, lots of good folks tuning in today. Stop by, say hello, any questions you might have. And remember, as we're doing this, lots of good auctions happening in New York. We got Erie County, Orange County, Juanita County, Tompkins County, Sullivan County, and Lewis County, all happening here within the next 30 days or so. So you guys can be taking advantage of these auctions. If you're not in New York, it's not a big deal. We do this stuff remotely as well, and we appreciate it. First time hopping on. How often do you do these streams? So normally Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1:15 Pacific time is normally when we do them here, and we're live. So you guys can always come and get some live things. Especially, man, I don't know about you guys, but these days, like, the internet ain't what it used to be. I get so annoyed now, like when I'm watching content and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this isn't real, right? So this is why we like our live streams. You click on a live stream, it's real. And that's cool. As far as, never thought I'd be like, oh, remember the good old internet where you knew what you were watching is authentic, the thirst trap era. This is the worst for that, right? Because now it's like, oh, you can't even, those poor thirst trappers. Their time, they had it. Good stuff. But let's see, Josh, maybe one more. We got about 5 minutes, and actually one more question. Let's see, how much money do you need to start buying property with us? So we recommend, like, if you have 10 grand can get you into something that you can move quick on and really get your money working for you. Now, obviously we show stuff that's a lot cheaper as well, but if you really want to get into something and move quick, 10 grand, you could get a house that's worth 20, 30, 40, 50,000, sometimes even home runs that are worth a lot more. So we've just seen over the years, the people who really go the fastest are the ones who often come to the table with 10K. Doesn't need to always be like savings. A lot of folks will get like a 0 interest credit card if they want and put it on there, and obviously, proceed with whatever means fits your responsibilities. So that's definitely key. But Josh, I think you got a good one here on the screen.
Yeah, I found a legit castle.
Whoa.
This is crazy. This is 17 Pleasant Street, Sydney, New York. 18,600 square feet, which is outrageous. Looks like the last time they listed this for sale was $199,000 in 2014. And it looks like it went up for sale Monday, March 23rd on this website, the aarauctions.com, with $100 opening bid.
No way.
It's crazy.
Is it still listed or did it sell?
So this is the confusing thing. It said starting bid $100, but for other properties, you do see what they sell for. And so it says bidding is closed on this lot. I wonder if either nobody like bought it or if we just don't see what it sold for. But you never know. It could be OTC. It would be great to follow up with them and check. But pretty outrageous. Yeah, that was just a few months ago. And so we see all different kinds of items here. But this is the first time I've seen like a castle, which well, I don't know what it is, but it looks like a castle. $100.
This is the fun thing, right? As far as with tax deed investing, you get some wild cards. So sometimes, it's not a 0% probability or chance that somebody might have bought this thing for $100. And that's definitely a title thumbnail, $100 castle with tax deeds. So
starting bid.
I would put out a challenge here for folks to go and see. It could be available right now. But then the question is like, well, why does the county do that? That's a sounds too good to be true. And this could be a perfect example of a property. The county could say, sure, $100, get it off their books, but you have 60 days, 90 days to fix this thing up, fix the code violations, or maybe it's 6 months to make it a productive part of the community again. And then you start paying taxes. So like Josh was saying, they might actually take a loss and just to get this thing back brought up, it's kind of the same thing. Like when your uncle sells you a car for $100 or $1, right? You're going to use it and bring it back to life. Josh, I need to change gears, but it looks like there's quite a few people. You mind doing a few more questions and then click an end?
Yeah, we can show California as well because we got California locked and loaded.
Cool. California would be good. All right, guys. Josh is going to bring this thing home. Ask any questions. We'll dive into it. Before I go, remember, like I mentioned here, on Wednesday, we're doing a webinar coming up. It's going to be great. We're going to go into a cool way to buy 100K houses through tax liens, sometimes for as little as $5,000. So there's a link in the description for the webinar, QR code, and everybody who comes gets the book, and we're going to have fun. So this will be through tax liens that don't redeem, and we'll share with you guys some steps and share with you how AI can really speed this stuff up. So that's coming up here on Wednesday as well. I'm just going to put this banner back on the screen here, Josh, and you guys can rock and roll here for a few more minutes.
Nice. Can you just put my screen on the
Yep, full show.
Perfect.
Oh, how do we do that? It's showing me on full screen.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect. There we go. There we go.
Okay,
all right.
Nice.
Official gear change.
All right. So we've also got, so that covers a little bit about New York and what's going on there. But we do have the County of Butte, California. They've got a over-the-counter tax sale coming up here really soon, actually. It starts August 7th, and it's going to close on August 10th. And so this is bid for assets. And so we just compare platforms. AARauctions.com. It's not as popular as bid for assets. So bid for assets has been around for a really long time. They've been doing California tax sales for over a decade now. And so a lot of people know about this, but you can still find good deals. And I'm about to prove it right now. And so this is County of Butte, California. This is tax defaulted properties. And so what that means is that they previously went to the tax sale and nobody purchased or bought these. And so if you find a good deal on a tax defaulted properties auction list, that means that it would have been a great idea to attend this auction originally, and you would have been able to pick up any of these items for the opening bid. And so they do have a list. Otherwise, you have to look at it like this, which is pretty rough. You got to click on one item at a time and then get out of this box and then go down to this box and just start clicking on them one by one. So if you have an account, you can actually download the property list spreadsheet. And so I downloaded it and I put it into Google Drive here. And you've got the property address, you've got the opening bid, and then you've got the assessed value. So I just did a quick formula. I divided the assessed value by the minimum bid to give a percentage. And so here you can see some really, really good percentages. So what this means is 6.26%. The opening bid is 10 grand. It's got an assessed value of 162,000. So that means that this previously went to an auction. The opening bid was 10,149 and nobody actually bought it. So you could have bought it then at that price. And now it's going to a second auction, which means it's going to get a little bit more airtime in the sense of there's a lot less properties now this second time around. Here's another example, 10 grand, county assessed value, 122,000. And so some of these, the numbers aren't that good. This is about 63% of the value, the opening bid, to the value of the property. Some others are looking really good. I mean, anything that's 30% or less is really good. So here's an example of one that eventually they would probably have to reduce the opening bid. So the opening bid is 22 grand. They got a county assessed 25. So that's 90% of the value of the property, just in the opening bid. So I can see why those properties wouldn't get bid on, but anything here where there's a ton of equity, yeah, like 6%, this is looking like a really good deal. So from there, what you'd want to do is obviously a little bit more due diligence. You got to figure out what you're actually looking at. If the value is in the land, is it buildable? For some reason, maybe it's not buildable. It could be an irregular shaped lot. The land value could be inflated from the county. There's a whole bunch of different reasons why it may not have gotten bid on in the past, but that's up to us to figure out, because a lot of times it's just that it got passed over or it got skipped. And so I'm showing it's about 20 acres. 20 acres. And so if it's not landlocked and it is accessible, if it's buildable, if there's utilities out there, then it could actually be a really, really good deal. And so we'll often just put this into regrid. Because remember, we don't want to buy this based on just the numbers of the county. And so we do have a parcel number, kind of the same thing we did when we were looking at New York, is you want to take that parcel number, make sure you throw it into regrid so that you can actually see what the parcel lines are. So we'll throw that into regrid. There it is, 266 Yadera Lane. Whoa. Yeah, this is big. This is huge. So is it landlocked? It's a bit hard to say because you've got these roads here, and I'm assuming that there must be some kind of easement here to be able to use this Yadina Lane. And so something like this is a little bit trickier. It's not so obvious. Let's say this is the main road. Like you can see that there's definitely an easement here, right? You can see how there's a line parceled out for that road. So something like this is a little bit trickier. And so we see some red flags, and we just want to do some more research before whether we know if this is landlocked or not. But that's the kind of thing you want to look out for, because from a numbers perspective, it could be really, really good, right? Last sale price was $380,000. So someone once paid $380,000 for this, and you could have got it for 10 grand. And so maybe someone overpaid in the past, or maybe there's some red flags there. And so doing a title search, which you can do on your own for free, is going to reveal something like that. But yeah, this auction is coming up. There's a lot of stuff that is looking good on paper. Just come back here and see about answering some questions. I just want to stop the screen share. There we go. We got a comment here that says some lovely properties and some bad ones. Yeah, exactly. And so even a bad property, let's say it needs a complete rehab, or it's totally, it's just demolished, or it's going to be demolished. If you can buy these with a deep enough discount, then you may actually be able to get a really good deal. And sometimes the land is actually more valuable than the structure on it. And so it's just about knowing your numbers, because a lot of times, if you see a property that is like rental ready, it's occupied, it's in fantastic shape, everybody's going to look at that, not really see any problems or red flags, and everybody's going to bid on it. And so sometimes there's some red flags that need to be avoided, but other times, you can just simply accommodate those red flags into your max bid so that you can get a good deal. We got another question here from Billy Buds. How do I get over-the-counter properties listings, OTC lists? I'm from California, and I have an investor seeking tax deed properties. So sometimes it's easy to get these lists. Other times it can be really challenging or difficult. And so if you're focusing in California, just how we looked at Butte County, what California does is they'll just simply do a second auction. And what you'd want to find out, or the way to get around this, is talk to the county and see what they do with the properties that don't get bid on at the second auction. And so they're going to call it the tax title sale, or like the leftovers list, or like the second auction, like Los Angeles will do a second auction. Where else? San Bernardino, Riverside, all those counties, they'll do a second auction. But the question is, what do they do with what is left over? They might just roll it over to the next year. They might do a land bank. But the state of California, it's going to be different from state to state, or sorry, county to county. And so you would just simply need to contact the county that handles those properties and see if any of them actually just have properties left over from the secondary sale that you can acquire. And so other places, they might call it something else. So in Pennsylvania, they'll call them a repository list, of repository properties. And so generally, counties won't use that word, OTC, over the counter. And so when you're talking to them, just ask what happens to unsold properties from your second list. Okay. Last call for questions. Last call. As you can see, kind of from that $100 sale in AAR auctions, there's some crazy opening bids sometimes. And so some counties are stubborn. They're never going to reduce the amount of the opening bid. And then others, they'll do things like that where they'll even drop it down to $100, which is great. Okay, great. That helped. Fantastic. Yeah, a lot of times it's a county that doesn't have any infrastructure or any information online, FAQs, a great website. Anytime you can't find that, those are going to be sales that are even better because, you know, other people will look too. And sometimes that's just enough to discourage someone from going any further. And then you can get really good lists, really good deals when you can't find anything online. All right, great. Well, we will be back Thursday around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll have some more auctions, some more interesting properties that are coming up. But yeah, if you haven't signed up for that auction in New York, $100 opening bid, you really have no risk at all. And you definitely want to sign up for that and just see what properties sell for too. Because if a property sold for a price that you would have been willing to pay, you can follow the story. You can see what does that person do with the property later. Maybe they sell it and make a huge amount of money. Maybe they fix it up. It's always interesting what people do with those. And as mentioned before, tomorrow we've got the webinar. Scan the QR code if you want to sign up for that. If you haven't been to our website before, taxlienschool.com, check it out or check out our videos on YouTube. All right, we'll see you guys Thursday, 1 p.m. PST. Have a good one. Take care.